This time I'll call the May 23rd, 2019 meeting to order for Dixon County Commission. Would you please stand and join in the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have three additions to the agenda today. The first one will be an alarm monitoring system for employees, to consider that. The second one is to a letter of resignation from the treasurer of Sherman Township. And then the third item to add is the appointment of a new treasurer for Sherman Township. I'd move that we approve the amended agenda.
Second.
We have the motion and the second. Is there any further discussion or questions? Otherwise, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. The consent agenda includes the minutes of the May 16th meeting, the minutes of the May 20th special meeting, fund expenditures of $233,624.59, abatements of $3,431.86, added tax of $139.10.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Have the motion and the second. Any questions or discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Craig, we'll start with you for commission comments.
I just hope everybody heeds the warnings about don't drive if the road's closed, or if you can't see the road, doesn't take that much to push you off of it. That's all I have, Lynn.
Okay. Ron?
I don't have anything.
I did attend a meeting for Central Kansas Mental Health this past week in Salina, and then earlier this morning we had two individuals come in regarding the annexation, Matt Townsend and Ron Jantz, is it? Brad Jantz. And they're just kind of letting us know it's actually a local matter that they'll handle in Harrington, but they were just discussing some annexation on the east side of the highway there. And the other thing is they did have a disaster emergency preparedness meeting. Chancey Smith pretty much kind of was in charge of that, but he also brought in people from all of the surrounding cities. The hospital had representation there. They had Westar was there, and just, considering some of the possibilities of, what would happen if things get worse, what are some of the challenges with the potential flooding, and factoring in water levels, and also the fact that we could have additional rain. But planning and preparation, is certainly the key, and we want to hope that things don't get worse or more severe, but in the event that they do, we have some preparation and communications in place for that. So that's all I would have. Would there be any public comments? Not having any public comments, we'll go ahead and go to report of county officers. Brad?
Okay, well, with the special meeting that we did the other day to declare the state of disaster, we have, as you described, Lynn, we've been having daily briefings with the representatives from the area, emergency personnel, and the communities on the flooding. As of this morning, we're told that it's going to crest about 30.5 feet sometime late Friday night or Saturday. That's all very dependent and very fluid, depending on what we get for rain. We're relatively confident we're going to get 2 to 4 inches in the next day or two, starting this afternoon about 4 o'clock. And of course, that type of runoff affects the water as well. So we are prepared. As I sent you an update, we did get the extension office a berm up around it earlier this week, and the guys are going down this afternoon to finish the door to get that taken care of. And we kind of sit and wait. We have a large number of roads that are closed around the central part of the county and throughout the center of the county that are reflected on our website. And we've been trying to keep the website up to date as much as possible. And I've said publicly and to the media, and like Craig said, do not drive through standing water, because even though it looks like the water may not be very deep, we've got pictures to show that culverts and small structures are gone underneath them. And you may be driving right into a 12-foot hole that they may not see your vehicle again until the water subsides. So turn around, don't go through it, take time to go around if you need be. So that's basically where we're at on the flood issues. So
You might, on the same issue, which Martin was saying, we may not have enough barricade signs to put up for roads that may be closed. We just don't have the signs.
It's not a matter of may, we just don't. We've expended all the barricades we have, so just because you're going, especially after dark, if you're driving down a road, take time to drive a little slower, because you may come across water standing across the road. And once you're into it, it's kind of difficult, so.
Yeah,
Just
just because
because there's no barricade doesn't
Yep.
mean the road's not closed, so use your senses and some common sense, so. A little information on the jail project. We did get a letter from the State Historical Office Monday that they have cleared our jail addition to move forward with a couple of their conditions, that neither of which we can't live with. We think we can abide by them with no problem. So with that information, the construction manager and the architects are moving forward to adjust some of the drawings and the specs, and they're reaching out to the contractors and getting updated bids, and they're working diligently to get that stuff taken care of. The nice thing is, like I mentioned in the work session, it's taking a little longer, but we're dealing with a lot of issues and resolving them ahead of time that would otherwise be change orders in the project. And if you've been involved in any type of a project like this at all, change orders equate to extra money. And so we want to avoid as many of those as we can. So it's, there's some positives to taking our time and methodically preparing, so. But it's continuing progress and progress well. And then yesterday, Craig and I actually attended the community assessment over at the Civic Center that the EDC had arranged and conducted, and it was very well attended. I think there was 50 or 60 people there, and the gal did a good job of going through and I think illustrating some of the historical and future issues that we will deal with as far as our communities throughout the county, and I look forward to getting the written report on that to look at it in more detail. So unless you have any questions, that's all I've got.
Okay, thank you, Doug.
Well, I guess the first thing would be that I'm really impressed with the level of preparation that the county has that trickles down to the cities. And you have an emergency like this, of course, I'm behind the scenes, so I get to see a lot of it. But there's a lot of time that goes into in their anticipation of disasters, and a lot of planning goes into that. And others would say, well, that's a lot of wasted time because it doesn't happen. But when it does happen, you see that it's choreographed very well. And that's what the situation is in here. Every community that is at risk has fed off of the county and for information, and have worked diligently. And Chapman's got sandbags all over, and they're in contact with with Chancey and with Brad, and those folks have done a good job. It's just like the jail preparation. Brad alerted me in advance that there could be a potential issue. So we did the research, we had those things ready to go, and those items of planning just make a real difference when the catastrophe happens, so that people aren't confused, they know how to deal with it. And so I'm impressed with what the county has done, their staff, and that begins at the leadership and goes right on down to everybody, the person putting up the barricades, and so that's awesome. Good job.
Okay, thank you.
That's all I have.
On notices, communications, we have the publication that comes from North Central Regional Planning Commission, which we are a part of. And then also we did receive a thank you letter. And it's thank you for your generous donation to the Hope High School after prom. It was a great success. It would not have been possible without you. And it was signed by some of the individuals that attended that. And of course, that's monies that we have set aside that goes specifically to the after proms, and we support not only Hope but the other schools here.
Anything we sign?
And then I don't, Brad, that's what, from the alcohol?
Yes, that's
Funds.
the $500 that we give each school district out of the alcohol education fund.
Okay,
And we've done that for many years, so.
That's a pretty good program for all the communities.
It is, we've got one, each one of our 5 school districts has a community or a safe night after problem. And that's put on, that's not a school, necessarily a school
No.
function, that's the parents of those kids doing that on the side, raising those funds. And
Yeah.
I know from being involved in that for 4 years in a row with my kids, that's a challenge to keep those kids in and do something to keep them entertained, keep them safe, so.
You bet.
Very good program.
okay, thank you. Next item, we'll go ahead and move on to a resolution that we have. This is to consider a resolution to exempt real property owned by Redline Development LLC, doing business as KVK at 108 North Nebraska Avenue, Woodbine. And Brad, can you tell us a little bit more on that resolution?
This is a property tax exemption that was applied to by Redline Development. This is the new KVK, or the new KVK building, and the expansion in Woodbine that came through from the city. And Doug might have some more to say on that, I don't know.
Yeah, I have the land valuations with $14,596.30, and the improvements was $296,458.86. And before I came in here today, I stopped and visited with the appraiser, Bruce, and asked him if he was satisfied with the application. He is. And so I asked him if he wanted me to recommend to the board that they approve it, and he does. And so therefore, that one stands.
So you
Okay.
need to go forward with the resolution?
I think so. There's somewhere, is this set for an 11/15 on their publication notice for public hearing?
He wasn't set for a time, it was just set during the meeting, so.
Okay, all right, okay. All right. So then this is ready to proceed with. The clerk would have the original resolution. I have a copy of that resolution. Would have been the same one that I would have given to the clerk.
Did you give me one, or I've got one, I've got the one that you sent me originally too.
And then, now, do we need to open a hearing on this?
I don't
Well,
know.
I would, you can't go wrong with a public hearing. If you open it up, there's nobody here, but.
Okay, but we did receive one communication, so I'll go
Okay.
ahead and open up a hearing at this time. Any additional comment? And the one we did receive by email from Casey Reedy, it says, "I just wanted to let you know that the Liberty Township is in favor for the tax abatement of KVK. If you could pass this information on to the commissioners," this was sent to Brad, that none of the board members will be attending the hearing this morning, but they are in support. Are there any other comments or additional information?
The city of Woodbine, they've got a letter of support, and the school district didn't support it, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
The city of Woodbine wanted to do economic development. It's a new property that was built at the, right at the edge of town in city limits. And it's been a plus. They're a very busy, very good company. And I think the city of Woodbine set up an economic development zone already. And so that would apply for anywhere within the city limits of Woodbine. The school district did reject it.
This is an exemption for a term of 10 years,
Correct?
and it's one of those where it's a declining
Yes.
percentage. So it starts year one, 100%, and then drops down 10% each year. So 90, 80, 70, and so on. To year 10, it would be 10%.
So essentially, it's 50% abatement over 10 years, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go ahead and move that we adopt resolution number 052319, and this is a resolution of intent for exemption of the ad valorem tax for the property owned by Redline Development.
Lynn, I think you want to
Close
close
the
the
hearing.
Oh,
meeting first.
okay. Yes, the hearing is now closed. Thank you. So now that the hearing is closed, I'll go ahead and make that motion that we adopt resolution 052319, and that's for the exemption of property as outlined here for Redline Development, doing business as KVK at 108 North Nebraska Avenue, Woodbine, Kansas. Are there any Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have the motion and the second. Any further discussion or questions? Otherwise, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And there's a place to sign there. Next item we have is one that was an addition to our agenda. And this is, Brad, if you'll go ahead and cover this alarm monitoring system.
Yes, this is a new policy, or county policy that we're requesting, policy number 327, and it has to do with our dispatch center and monitoring of alarms. Since April of 2000, we have monitored alarms for residences and commercial locations within our county, and we just simply charge $10 a month per alarm count to do that, and that provides the owner of those alarms with 24/7 monitoring of whether it's a burglary, a medical emergency, fire, whatever it could be. Over that period of time, we had not charged the emergency personnel, in other words, the sheriff's deputies or fire personnel, if they had alarms in their own personal residence. And we would like to extend that to cover any county employee. We don't have a lot of county employees that have alarm systems, but there are a few, and it kind of is just another added perk to work for the county. There's really no revenue loss on our part, because we have enough private alarms that pay for that system and the resources that are required for it. So it's just another perk that we'd like to be able to add to the cash of things as a county employee, that, you know, you get a few things that are a benefit, and that would be one of them, so.
And I guess as far as response time and investigative and so on, there's a lot of advantages to law enforcement.
There's a tremendous amount of advantages as opposed to the alternative, which is going through a private company, a secondary company that's monitored outside of Kansas. And it all comes down to accuracy and timeliness. And when you have a fire alarm, if you have an emergency or hold-up alarm or whatever the case may be, seconds is critical to get people notified. In this case, literally within 7 to 10 seconds when the alarm's activated, it's on a screen in dispatch, and they will dispatch the appropriate personnel. And otherwise, it could take 5 to 10 minutes by the time another company gets that alarm, determines what it is, turns around, calls our dispatch, because we have to dispatch it, and notifies them. We put it into the system, and then turn around and dispatch the personnel. And 5 or 10 minutes could be a long time, or even longer, when you're waiting on emergency personnel to be responding, so.
Okay. So is there a,
I move to approve the policy 327 regard to employee alarm systems.
Second.
we have the motion and the second for approval of the policy 327, as you mentioned, on alarm monitoring for employees. And the second, any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item that we added on is to accept a resignation of Deanne Cogran as treasurer of Sherman Township, and she has sent in a letter expressing that she's going to resign that position. So I don't think there's anything we need to do other than formalize it by accepting the letter.
So moved.
I'll second it.
We have the motion and second to accept the resignation of Deanne Cogran for treasurer of Sherman Township. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Kind of the second part of that is we do have a recommendation from Sherman Township for replacement of this position, and it would be to appoint Heather Hill as treasurer.
So moved.
I second.
So we have the motion and second to have Heather Hill appointed, the new vacancy here, so she'll be appointed treasurer of Sherman Township. Any other discussion?
You might, if Ron knows it, how this is handled is the other two board members make the recommendation, or did you know that, Ron?
I did not know
Okay,
that.
that's how,
Okay.
when somebody resigns, the other two board members make recommendation to it. Is there any other thing besides that?
And we did have a
Is
letter.
there a meeting that they,
Right, I mean, they should have a formal meeting to accept it, right?
I would assume they did. Now, I don't think you're bound by that recommendation, but
Well, I know.
that's typically the way
Okay.
it's been done in the past, so.
Okay.
So let me ask you this then, Doug, if we didn't accept it, what would be the procedure?
the procedure would be that the board would appoint its own representative
Okay.
if they had other options available, or, you know, however that was going to be handled. You could send it back to that, to the board and say, consider other options available, we didn't approve this one.
And we did have a letter from David Jones and Lyle Hintz.
Hence,
Hintz?
yeah.
Okay. Lyle Hintz and David Jones
Yeah.
to recommend her for that position.
Okay.
I think about the only other thing is if more than one person applied for the position, you know, then we'd have to make a choice or gather more information.
Yeah.
And then once she's on there, once it comes up,
Right.
next voting cycle,
Yeah,
It'll
um,
be elected.
it'd be elected.
yeah.
Any further discussion? We have the motion and second. So to appoint Heather Hill, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. I don't believe we have any other business unless something's been brought to the attention of any of you that you'd want to bring up.
Nope.
Hearing none, is there a motion for adjournment?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it. We have the motion and the second for adjournment. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We're adjourned.